you beautiful person, this is your girl Bubbly Xiao Xiao, and today I'm here to talk to you about sun protection and sunscreen because people are becoming much more aware of the importance of sun protection, because not does it only cause premature aging, but it causes things like skin cancer. So sun protection is very, very important. But as someone who is allergic to oxybenzone, which is an active ingredient found in most sunscreens, what it does is it causes a nasty itchy rash. So for people like me, for us to go, we really have to go out of our way basically to look for sunscreens that does not contain any ingredients that will cause an allergic reaction to our skin, which is a process, you know, but the options are out there. So I am here to speak with you as someone who has sensitive skin. I just want to say I am not an expert, I am not a dermatologist. All the information that I'm about to share are basically public information that you can find on the internet if you just do your research. So I am just a fan of sun protection and a girl who has bought a lot of sunscreens in the past. So I am just here to share my experiences with you. Let's go. So first, let's talk about chemical sunscreen. There are 3 things I need to watch out for when we're buying chemical sunscreen. First is look for an expiration date. If you cannot find an expiration date, preferably don't buy it. And if you find an expiration date, make sure it's at least a year out, because we just want to make sure that we have enough time to use it up before the expiration date. And number 2 is we need the sunscreen to be a broad spectrum SPF, because there are 2 kinds of sun rays. One is UVA and the other one is UVB as in boy. Sorry. So UVA is basically the sun ray that causes like premature aging, wrinkles, uneven skin, and you know, all those skin problems that people have been trying to fix. That is caused by UVA. And UVB as in boy, that is like more superficial. It causes like sunburn and tan lines, but they're both bad for your skin. So we need a sunscreen that is broad spectrum SPF that protects against UVA also, as well as UVB. Okay? Alright. And third, we need a SPF of at least 30. That is what the American Academy of Dermatology recommends, a SPF of at least 30, and you need to reapply every 2 hours for the sun protection to be effective. Okay? Alright, moving on. So the first sunscreen that I recommend is the Neutrogena Clear Face Oil-Free Sunscreen of SPF 50, and it's also oxybenzone free and it won't causes breakout. And this is the best sunscreen I found this year. It goes on very lightly, very light, and at first it has a little bit of white cast, but just look at how well it goes away. And right now it has a little bit of like a oily shine to it, but just give it a few minutes, it's gonna dry very matte. And also the sunscreen layers very well. Like, you know how some sunscreens, like you apply it and then you try to reapply it like a few hours later, and then it gets cakey and it gets like, you know, like it becomes kind of scabbly. Is that the word? But it becomes cakey, you know what I mean. But this one, it reapplies very nicely. And also this I found in a grocery store for about $13. But I also found them in Costco for about like $17 for 2. So, which I think is actually a pretty good price. Especially for like 3-4 ounces. And it smells a little bit like sunscreen, but it's not that bad. It doesn't have like a very strong smell. But when you do sniff it close up, it smells like what a sunscreen would. Next, we have the Etude House Sunprise Sun Milk, I think that's what's called, of SPF 50, and this is so good. My friend Jenny recommended this to me and I've been in love ever since. Like, it goes on so light, so milky, and it just goes on very airy Is that what it's called? It goes on very airy. This was also $13. However, this is only 1.85 fluid ounces. So to me, personally, I think this is a little bit on the expensive side, but it is so worth it. I think this is the best option if you wear makeup in the summer, or even in the winter and fall or spring, because you're really supposed to wear sunscreen all year round. But this layers best under your makeup because it goes on very lightly, and also it smells very nice. Like, it does not have a sunscreen smell. It smells like moisturizer without the thick texture of a moisturizer that contains sunscreen. You know what I mean? Next, we have the Etude House Sunrise Sun Milk, which is pretty much very similar to this one, but this one is the mild airy finish, and then this one is the mild watery finish. Honestly, I don't really feel there's a big difference between these two, but this is like, this is also equally as nice. Just look at the finish. It's so, it just goes on so nicely. It feels so good, and does not have a white cast. It does not have a oily finish. It just goes on very nicely. So this is $10, 1.76 fluid ounces, and this is $13, 1.85 fluid ounces. So you pick and choose. Honestly, I don't really feel like there's a big difference. They're both spectacular. So next we have the Your Good Skin SPF 30. I noticed that whenever I reapply it, it really stings my eyes. It makes my eyes really watery, irritated, and I have a hard time keeping my eyes open. And I tried really hard to like it and give it many tries, but it just didn't work for me. It goes on it also goes on pretty light. It goes on pretty light. But unlike the Neutrogena and Etude House, this has a stronger white cast, as you see, and it does dry a little oily. Like, after you spread it around, it is like the white cast goes away after you spread it around, but it does leave an oily finish, because I think this is meant to be like a moisturizer with sunscreen, and moisturizers with sunscreen, it is usually a little thicker and dries a little oily. I shouldn't say dries a little oily because it's very contradicting, but you know what I mean. Like, it leaves a oily texture after you apply it. The good thing about this, I guess, is as a moisturizer with sunscreen, it's not thick. It's pretty thin for a moisturizer that contains sunscreen ingredients, but for me, I had trouble with it applying on my face because it really irritated my eyes. Next, we have the Aveeno Positively Radiant SPF 30, and honestly, I've used this for the longest time before I venture out to the other brands and made new discoveries. This smells the best as far as sunscreen lotions go. Like, it smells so like organic. Even though there's nothing organic about sunscreen, it's all chemical ingredients, but it just smells very like you've bonded with nature. It goes on very nicely as well. It's also very light, very airy, and you know, we all love airy light sunscreens, okay? Because nobody wants to wear heavy, sweaty sunscreens in the summer. Like, look at this. And this was $14 and some change for 2.5 fluid ounces. At first, initially, I thought that was like a little bit on the expensive side, but at the same time, the Neutrogena is like ½ ounce more, but $1 less. When you really think about it, it's not that much of a big difference, but I thought this was like a great price, and this was like a little expensive. So, but at the same time, like, this is definitely like highly recommended. I definitely will buy this again in the future. So, you know, you be the judge of your own budget, you know. Next, we have the L'Oreal Revital Lift SPF 25, and this is a moisturizer with sunscreen in it, which will be thicker, like we talked about earlier, that moisturizers with sunscreens are usually have a heavier texture. So it is very creamy, thicker. It does have like a little bit of oily texture, and it does take you a little longer to rub it into the skin, but that's just moisturizers, you know. So this is how it looks after I rub it in. I guess you can't really tell the big difference on camera. You really have to experience it and feel it on your own skin. But I personally would not wear this in the summer because personally it's a little thick to me. I will wear this like maybe in the fall and winter when it's a little bit drier outside, because I have oily skin, so I need to have sunscreens that dry a little matte for me on my skin. And introducing the Mac Daddy of all the sunscreens I've bought so far in my life, because this was $60 freaking from Sephora, and this is Dr. Andrew Wells for Origins Mega Bright SPF 30, and it's supposed to even out your skin tone and all those magical stuff. First of all, after using it, it's almost done. This container is almost empty. I did not feel like it significantly improved my skin tone. Like, I still have some freckles and some uneven spots from all the damage I've done in my younger years when I didn't take sun protection seriously. So I bought this in hopes that it was going to rebirth my skin, but that didn't happen, so I was kind of, you know, put off, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you can't expect it to work miracles. It smells really nice. Like, it is a moisturizer with sunscreen. So let's put some, rub it in. It goes on very nicely, and it smells really nice. It smells like when you go to a spa for a massage and they give you like aromatherapy, like that kind of like a soothing, calming, relaxing smell. It's like that. So it is very nice, but you know, not $60 worth of nice. Now that we've talked about chemical sun protection for your skin, let's talk about some physical things that we could do to protect our skin from the sun as well. Number one, my favorite, is a sun hat. You can really style it and get fun with it. Like, you can try to match your outfit with it, and then I even see people do creative things on the hat and around the the base of the hat to decorate it in different ways. But yeah, I wear this everywhere I go. Like, even if I'm taking out trash or even just like walking over there to the garden, I'm wearing this because like I don't want the sun on my face. And when you're buying sun hat for the purpose of sun protection, please make sure that it is stated somewhere in the description that it is approved by the FDA for sun protection, because believe it or not, FDA is the one that regulates these products because they are intended for medical use to protect you from the sun, from sun damage. So it is important that it is stated on there somewhere that these products are made for the purpose of protecting your skin from the sun. That's how you know it offers proper protection. And let's say if you're just shopping and you can't be sure if this hat is going to offer proper protection, an easy way to tell or test it out is hold it up to the light and see how much light comes through and how dense your straw hat is, because some hats, especially like straw hats like this, it is so thin and so sparse that like so much light comes through and it offers no protection from the damaging UV rays whatsoever. But if you have like a heavier, denser hat, yeah, like chances are it is going to block out more damaging rays than the thinner, sparse ones. Another treasure I found on the internet are these sun protection gloves, because I don't like to apply sunscreen on my hands because it just makes me feel like kind of yucky. But Now I have sun protection gloves. I don't gotta wear sunscreen on my hands anymore. I find this really helpful when I'm like outside in the garden, just sitting and chilling, or like if I'm driving is a big thing. Like you don't notice, but like maybe you do, but I didn't. But what I did notice is that sometimes when I'm driving, literally my hands on the steering wheel, like your face might be shielded, but your hands are literally there being exposed to the sun for however like many hours that you drive that week or that day. So like it is so bad for your hands, and like come on, like you need to protect your hands because hands are so important as well. Like I tend to neglect my hands just because I don't like to apply sunscreen lotion on my hands, but like I'm so thankful I found these. And these are really long, like it goes all the way up to the middle of your upper arm. Right now I'm kind of like chubby. I'm kind of like I gained so much weight during quarantine, so like these don't like necessarily come all the way up here anymore. It kind of like gets stuck on my elbow, but they are supposed to come all the way up to the middle of your upper arm. So like this is really helpful if you're outdoor, like if you're an outdoorsy person, if you do a lot of garden work, or if you're just like outside like running, doing outdoor sports, for whatever reason, like you have to be outside. Like this is so helpful. I feel like now every time I leave the house I have to take this with me because I need to protect my hands, you know. So today I shared sunscreens and some products that I found very helpful to me in my daily life. I hope that you find it useful as well, because it is so important that we all take measures to protect ourselves from the sun, from damaging UV rays every single day. Doesn't matter what season you're in right now, or what altitude you live on, or where you live on the earth really. Damaging UV rays are all around us, and we really need to take measures to make sure that we are protected from the damaging UV rays, to protect ourselves from skin cancer. Although this video was created with the intention to help people who are, allergic to Oxybenzone like me with sensitive skin, I hope that those of you who aren't allergic to Oxybenzone also found some of the information very helpful, because it applies to you as well. It is all of our responsibility to take protective measures from the sun, that we are, a healthier generation. We are a more aware, educated generation. And I think it is our responsibility that we do what we can to decrease our generation's chance of getting skin cancer. So that is it for today. I hope that you found this information helpful. If I discover more helpful products for sun protection in the future, I will definitely make another part to this video. As of now, goodbye.